Good morning, internet. What's popping? Can't think of any other hand signals to do. Players boxing, Warrington. I should do a collab with them. I can make this stuff cooler, I think. It's what you get for being a hipster business study student in 2010 or whatever it was. I had a good training session yesterday down at Wildcard. Did I go up to Wildcard? Up at Wildcard in St Helens, which is Martin Moore's place. I was very pleased with how it went. The reason why I'm in the garden is because I'm going to show you Bird City. Bird City. And how it's been destroyed a bit by the squirrels. But look, there's Bird City. Bit of a makeshift front on the box there, using some old wood. Insect Hotel. And I stuck that on there, yeah. So that's where the birds go. I've got some plants as well. There's my dahlia. Interesting story about that dahlia. My wife planted that dahlia when we were living in Spain, right? There was a couple of there was some lettuce plants as well and something else. And yeah, so we had to move back from Spain, but because of her, let me show you the carrots as well. There's my carrots. It's an old sink that should hopefully blossom. But yeah, so that dahlia's got a really interesting story to it. So when we were living in Spain, because of Brexit, gracias a Brexit, my visa ran out and I needed to go back to the UK, right? And because of my wife's nationality being Venezuelan, we needed a visa to get her back. So we found ourselves in this really crazy situation where we had a pregnant wife, fiance at the time. We had a Toyota RAV4. We had 2 dogs, and we had all our stuff from living in Spain. So basically all our, not all of our belongings, because we were able to leave some with family. Because the family thing was better then. And she was planting these plants on the balcony where we were living in Spain. In Playa de Hierro. It's actually Catalonia, but it depends who you ask. And yeah, she planted them. She was getting rid of these plants, and I was like, "That's really cool. That's a really cool hobby." So I didn't want her. She was like, "I'll just leave them there," and she was like, "I don't want to take them with us." I was like, "No, we can't do that. We can't leave them because we put so much time into it." And then once I decided to do it, I was like, "I'm getting those plants back to the UK," because they were growing from bulbs and stuff, and it was like a nice moment because her father had passed away, and she was doing it to kind of like, it was linked to that. And so I was like, "No, we can't leave them," because I don't know, there was something in me that saying like, I'm not leaving these plants, right? And but because we had to wait for her visa to come through, so basically in Spain, especially near the coast, the houses prices change from out of season to in season, and it like doubles. So we were like, right, when it finishes, which is around this time 3 years ago, I think 3 years ago probably now, 2 years ago, the price went up. So we were like, right, we'll make our way back. So she applied for the visa, and she we had to decide though, because we had the dogs. So we were in the northeast coast near Barcelona, right? But because we didn't know when the visa was going to land, basically, we thought, right, what we'll do is we'll dip and dop, if that's a word or phrase, all the way up through France. We'll get the ferry from Dover to Calais, and we'll drive back up, and we'll break up the trip. And that was the idea, but we didn't really have any other choice because she didn't have a visa, and we didn't have a house, and we had all this stuff. We had the 2 dogs and the pregnancy and all of our stuff and these plants, right? So we shove all of our stuff in the back of my Toyota, which I'd taken over there, which is my favourite thing in the whole world. my favourite material possession, I think, probably. And there's a story about that as well, why it means so much to me. So we're driving, so we didn't know, so we had to stop. Basically, we stayed in different places on the way back up because we had to wait for the visa, and we thought, well, we'll break up the trip and it'll be easier to break it up, right? And we ended up staying in some incredible places. One place is probably my favourite place in the whole world, which was a ski resort in the Pyrenees, but it's a really small one. So there was like one restaurant and one hotel and a couple of blocks of small flats, and that was it. And because it was summer, there was no one there, and it was incredible. And an eagle literally flew over our heads when we went up to we can walk obviously, and the dogs were there. It was just incredible place. And it was so quiet, and there was no people, and it was not that hot, because in Spain in summer it's kind of unbearably hot. Anyway, these plants, right? So we stayed in the course of a year. I think we stayed in 19 different places, maybe more actually since we got back. And we were moving up slowly through France. And bear in mind, every time that we get to a new place, I'd have to unpack the car and then put the stuff as much stuff as we needed into the Airbnb, and then including the plants, and then repack it every time. So the most we stayed was in the Pyrenees, was like 3 weeks. We did 2 weeks in Bordeaux. We did 2 weeks in a place called Tuesta, which is outside Vitoria, which is outside Bilbao. We saw Bilbao. We saw Bordeaux. We stayed outside Paris a couple of weeks. So it was just an obscene amount of different places that we stayed, because we weren't sure when her visa was going to land. So we'd applied for it, and we didn't even know if it was going to come through. So she's pregnant. We've got all our stuff. My visa's running out. But I actually had run out. I hadn't realised. And she was pregnant, right? And we've got these plants in the back of the car. And she's like, just leave them. And I was like, no, I'm not leaving them. And I even remember once I left them outside of the flat inn, because in the ski resort, obviously we were up high and there was no balcony. So I left them outside the window, and I actually sort of made friends with one of the locals, because they were helping water the plants. When they were like taking care of the plants, because it was like outside there. It's outside their window. So that plant has been through. And bear in mind, like when I'm moving stuff in and out, there's a tendency for stuff to break. Most of the other ones broke. There was like 4 plants, and that dahlia just never broke. And it stayed in so many different places. I was like, I'm not giving up on it. And because I put so much effort into it, I kind of got emotionally attached to it. And I think that's the autistic thing in me. I get actually like emotionally attached to more physical entities, or the energy of it, or I don't know, whatever. So yeah, man, that plant has been through many places, and I finally got it back. And I thought it died last year. Left it outside for too long. You're supposed to like bring them in, dahlias, and I thought it had died, and I was gutted. And I brought it back anyway. I replanted it, and last year, and I brought it back, and I thought it was dead, and I'd given up, kind of like, oh, it's gone. And it came back. So it's the little things in life that mean the most, and that is definitely one of them. So I'm not sure about this t-shirt. How to wear it. So yeah, man. Pretty cool little story about a dahlia. So if I ever have a daughter, one of the names that's going to be on the list is definitely going to be Dahlia. Day for short, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, boxing, I was pleased with how boxing went last night. He's running off with my shoe now, which is probably an indication that I need to get off here and take care of my responsibilities. Get that groin stretch. I'll get my groin stretch. I've realised that my bad back was linked to tightness of the groin here, which is then obviously connected. So, yeah, but I change after I box, like for the better. It must lift something deep inside me because. Can you not fight, please? Anyway, that's your lot. It's the Dahlia story. Dahlia and the trip back through France. But yeah, we stayed in so many different places. Yeah. And oh yeah, right. And we didn't even know if she had the visa. So bear in mind, we're working our way up through France and Spain in this car. And we didn't even know if the visa had landed. So we ended up staying outside Paris, obviously moving our way up. And yeah, we didn't even know. It was like a Kinder Egg surprise when she got the visa. And bear in mind, like, my whole life is dependent, or our whole life is dependent, our family's life is dependent on this visa being accepted. And we had no idea. So we're staying outside France, right? And she finally gets the notification. Can you not fight, please? She finally gets the notification that the visa's come through and she can go and pick it up, right? Bear in mind, we're about an hour outside Paris at this point, and she's got to get on her own, pregnant, to Madrid, to then go and see if the visa's even been accepted, right? So Danielle has then she had to get a train from outside Paris, where we were. Fortunately, we were near the train station, to Paris. She then got to get a train from Paris to Barcelona. She then got to change, get a train from Barcelona to Madrid, and then change, and then get 2 tubes to then walk to the place. And bear in mind, I couldn't go with her because I had the dogs in Paris, outside Paris. She then got to get 2 tubes to get to the place, to then open a letter from the consulate, which is a Kinder Egg surprise of, oh, by the way, if this is a no, there's a possibility that your family will be split up because she can't go back and I couldn't stay. Oh, it gets even crazier, right? So she gets there and she opens Kinder Egg surprise, and thank God it was a yes. Your visa's been granted, right? Which costs an absolute arm and a leg. But it's like $5,000 in total. And then she comes back. She flew back, which was better. So it took the pressure off a bit. She flew from Madrid to Paris. And this is all pregnant, by the way. Then she gets the train back, and we're like, right, well, we can start the trip back to England now. And I get to the French border, and I hadn't extended a part of my visa, which came with the visa that I had to extend it. I managed to get a student visa out there, which I ended up, sorry about that as well. And yeah, Barcelona Uni. But, so we get to the border in France, and the woman at the what do you call it? Boundary, what do you call it? I can't think of the word. She's checking through the documents and stuff, and looking at the passport and all that, and she turns to me and she goes, your visa expired like 2 months ago. And I was like, no it didn't. Thinking like, and there was people behind us in the queue. You know what people get like, and you're in your queue at like something like that, you just want to get home, you're all crappy anyway. And she goes, yeah, your visa's expired. And I was like, nah. And she checked it, she showed me, and it had. And she's like, so she gets the date up, she shows me and goes, this is the date your visa expires. Don't you agree that you should have gone home? You should have left the country. And obviously expecting me to say yes. I went, no. And she went, why not? And I went, because I got a pregnant wife, I got a pregnant fiance back there. What kind of a man would I be if I just went, oh, I'm getting off? I can't leave a pregnant missus with all her stuff on her own in wherever it was. She's in France at this point. And the woman's face, I'll never forget it. It was so funny. She was obviously expecting me to say yes. She's obviously said it before. It's like a thing that she's obviously learned doing her job, that she would say, she would like put it back on with the question, put it back on to you, say, don't you agree? You know, that kind of, is it closed question, open question, anyway. She said, don't you agree? And I went, no. I'll never forget her face. And I was like, obviously not. My wife's pregnant. I'm obviously not going to leave her. Oh, my fiance's pregnant. I'm obviously not going to leave her. I'm not. No, don't care. I'm not. There's more important things than that kind of thing. And you know what? It was one of those things in life where there's the random acts of kindness, and she was like, do you know what? Okay, I understand. I hope that you have a successful pregnancy and enjoy your baby. And she let me through with no fine. And nothing ever came of it. And that woman will never ever see us again. But we were so stressed at that point. We were so wound up. We were so tired. Just wanted to get back and chill. Bear in mind the baby, the one of the dogs was a puppy at this point, so he was waking up every day at like 5, 6 a.m, which was fine when we were in the Pyrenees. I'm out on the mountain and he's just loving it. But yeah, and that woman just let us through, and it was just one of those things where it just, when you need it, I feel like when you really genuinely need it, and it's not a thing for growth, it's not an opportunity for growth, it's something that you genuinely need, God will just be like, all right, there you go. And she got us through, and then we started the trip back to England. Then when we got back to England, the stress got to us. I think the stress got to the emotion and the stress of the whole. Oh! I'm going internet. Well, yeah, cool story, right? Stressful as fuck. But yeah, do try boxing if you've never tried it, because it literally makes me feel. I love it. And maybe it's not the thing that you love, but if you can find the thing that you love, do as much of it as possible, because it'll just lift you up. Anyway, what have I got to do today? I've got shit to do. I've got money to make. I've got business to set up. I actually want to do a free business course at the local community centre. I was thinking about that yesterday. I might go and speak to them. I might put a polo shirt on first, because we live in that appearances type world. Right, peace out, players. Bye, internet.